My father died 3 months ago. This isn't what I'm here to talk about. I want to tell you about what happened after he passed away. What happened when the family gathered to read his will. And what happened when my older brother found out what Dad left for him and what he left for me. Nobody expected what was written, especially my brother. Let me go back to the beginning so you understand why Dad did what he did and why I didn't want anything from him, but ended up taking everything. My brother Sammy is 34. Since I was 6 years old, he was always the favorite one. Not me. I'm not complaining. This is just the truth. Since we were young, he was the one getting the good grades. For example, he played football with the school team and won competitions. He was the boy my father was proud of in front of people. And you know how family and neighbors are in those family gatherings. Sammy is the best in his class. Sammy is this and that. I was just there. I wasn't bad, but I wasn't Sammy. I brought good grades, but not amazing ones. I played sports, but I never won a trophy. Because of that, Dad treated me in a different way. He never hit me or yelled at me, but I just felt like I was the second. You know, in a competition, there's a first and a second, like that. Or like when you have a phone that works perfectly fine, but it's old, so you don't show it off. It's not an iPhone, you get it? You don't pull out to show people. I remember one time when I was 12, I won second place in a math competition. I went home so happy with that medal. Dad saw and said, "Oh, second place? Your brother always comes in first." He didn't say congratulations. He didn't say you did a good job. He directly compared me to Sammy. From that time, I stopped trying to prove myself or look cool. I understood that whatever I did, Sammy would stay first. When we grew up, the gap became even bigger. Sammy graduated from university and came to Dad with a business idea. He saw a place in the city center, and the father was so excited. You know that feeling of, my son is going to be a businessman. Sammy wanted a loan of $50,000, and Dad gave it to him without thinking. He didn't ask for guarantees, didn't ask for a contract, didn't do anything. Just trust. He's a son. He'll give it back when the business succeeds. And Sammy, everything he touches works, or so we thought. The restaurant opened, but after a year, it closed. The business failed. The economy is hard. It's not a competition. It wasn't the right time. But the truth was, Sammy was spending that money on himself. A new car, expensive clothes, partying. I saw it, but I said nothing. And nobody asked Sammy where the money went. Dad accepted the loss like it was normal. After 2 years, Sammy came back with a new idea. An import company. This time it's different. I have a plan. I learned from my mistakes. He asked for $30,000. And Dad gave it to him again, no questions asked. And this import company lasted about the same time, maybe a year. Then it stopped. Same story. The market is hard. In total, let's talk real numbers. $80,000. He didn't return a single dirham. Meanwhile, when I finished high school, and because I didn't get amazing grades to get a scholarship, I didn't have money for university. Even Dad told me, "Look, you have to work and save, just like I did." So that's what I did. I worked and saved. When I gathered a little bit, I found that I could only afford a small vocational diploma. But I was short by $5,000. I went to Dad. "Dad, I need a small help. Just $5,000, and I will give it back to you for my first salary, God willing." He looked at me, didn't think twice, and said, "No, you need to learn how to make it on your own. I won't give you money to waste. School isn't a guarantee of success." So, $5,000 for school was a waste to him, but $80,000 for Sammy's failed business was an investment. I understood the message. I didn't argue, I didn't cry. I just left. From that moment, I asked for nothing. I worked day and night in fast food, supermarkets, cafes, anything that would take me. It wasn't easy, but I paid for that diploma with my own effort. I built myself alone. Even so, I kept visiting my father every week. Not because I needed anything, but because I loved him. Even though that thing hurt me, that I needed something small, and he closed the door in my face just because I wasn't a star like the other one. He was still my father. I didn't hold a grudge. Now, let's go back to 4 years ago. Dad got sick. It started simple, like a cold that wouldn't go away. Coughing, always tired, a little fever. It's just a cold, it'll pass. But it didn't. After a month, we went to the doctor, and the news was hard. A serious illness. He needed surgeries, medicine, and medical care. At that time, his insurance covered almost nothing. In America, this starts draining you, and you don't even know how the bills come out. They started piling up. The first was $15,000, the second $8,000, and the medicine alone was $2,000 every month. Dad had some savings, about $40,000 he had saved from years of work, but it wasn't enough. In 6 months, all his money was gone. He needed help. I called Sammy. I told him, look, we're at this point now. Dad needs us. The bills are a lot. He went quiet for a bit and said, look, my business is tight right now. I don't have cash. We're talking about the same business Dad spent $80,000 on. The same business Sammy used to buy a new car every 2 years. I had seen him 2 weeks ago in a Mercedes. Now he says he has nothing. Dad said nothing. He didn't blame Sammy or ask for an explanation. He accepted it like it was normal, like his favorite son couldn't help him. After that call, Sammy didn't visit Dad for 10 days. He said he was busy. When he finally came, he brought flowers, sat for an hour, talked about his business again and how the market is hard, and then left. He didn't ask how Dad felt or if he needed anything. He just came to be seen because he had to. On my side, I didn't have much. The diploma I took helped me find a good job, and I was saving every month. I had about $30,000 saved. My plan was to save enough to put a down payment on a small house, but Dad was more important. So I started paying with what I had. Every bill that came, slowly. Medicine, doctors, surgery. And I didn't tell Dad it was me paying. Imagine, because I knew if he knew, he would say no. So I made it look like the insurance was covering more or that there were some government grants. I knew he wouldn't accept taking money from me because of his pride. He's a man. He should provide, not his son. Imagine, over 4 years, I spent almost $120,000. Everything I was saving for my future. I even sold my car and bought an old one for $3,000. And the difference went to a bill. And nobody knew. Another thing you should know, and this is where you might wonder, where is your mom? My mom passed away a long time ago. God rest her soul. I prefer not to talk about her much. Back to Sammy. He visited Dad once a month, maybe twice if Dad called him. He'd sit for an hour, talk about himself, and leave. I was there every week. I stayed for hours. Sometimes I stayed the night. I gave him time, listened to his stories from the past, how he met Mom, how he built a house, how times were different back then. The same stories I'd heard 1,000 times. I'm sure you'd do the same with your parents or grandparents. But every time, I listened like it was the first time, because he was happy telling them, and I was happy seeing him happy. The last time I saw Dad conscious was a week before he died. When I say conscious, I mean he was with it. He was very weak. He couldn't walk or eat by himself. His health was failing. I sat next to him. I took his hand. It was cold and bony, but he squeezed it and said, "My son, thank you." I asked, "For what, Dad?" He said, "For everything." At that time, I didn't understand. I thought he was thanking me for the visit. Only later I understood. After that day, he fell asleep and never woke up. He died in his sleep, in a peace that I thank God for. The nurse called me in the morning and said he passed away in the night. Thankfully, he didn't suffer. He just slept. The funeral was small, family and close friends. Sammy brought his wife and kids. As usual, he was dressed in expensive brands. He was crying in front of people, wiping his tears with a silk handkerchief. You'd think he was the best son in the world. His wife was holding his hand, comforting him. It was a play. I saw how people felt bad for him. Poor Sammy, he loved his father so much. I almost laughed, but it wasn't the time for laughter or talking. A week after the funeral, the lawyer gathered us for the will. We sat in his office. Small office, old leather chairs, the smell of paper. Me, Sammy, and my Uncle Kareem, who was a witness. Sammy was sitting comfortably, legs crossed, looking at his watch. He was acting like he already won. I even saw him smiling a bit, predicting something good was coming. And that's normal. He was always a favorite. Naturally, he would take the big house. Naturally, he would take the majority of things. Especially since it's a will. The father defined what goes to who. It's not the law just dividing things. That's what I thought. And that's what Sammy thought. But Dad had another plan. The lawyer opened the file. Old yellow papers. He started reading the usual opening. I, so and so, in my full mental capacity, write this will. Then he reached a point. The house, which is the big house, and the land, which I inherited from my grandfather and where I built my family, I leave to my younger son. The lawyer stopped. Sammy lifted his head like he heard something wrong. What? The lawyer looked at him and continued. The bank account and investments that accumulated over my life from work, approximately $200,000, I leave to my younger son. Sammy literally stood up from his chair. His face turned red. What? This is wrong. 100% there is a mistake. Look closely. The lawyer raised his hand slowly and said, "Sir, let me finish." Sammy stayed standing, breathing hard. He was confused. The lawyer continued, "To my older son, Sammy, I leave my watch, which I also inherited from my father, and a letter." A watch and a letter. There was a heavy silence. 1, 2, 3 seconds. Then Sammy exploded. "This is madness. Dad was sick. He wasn't in his right mind. This will is not valid." The lawyer stayed calm. "Mr. Sammy, the will was written 3 years ago. Your father was in full mental capacity, and I have a medical certificate signed by doctors." "Lies! This is all lies." Sammy turned to me, his eyes wide. "You did this. You turned him against me. You twisted his head." I said, "Brother Sammy, I knew nothing about this." He shouted, "Shut up. I know you were always jealous of me. And finally you found a way to steal everything from me." My Uncle Kareem stood up. "Sammy, calm yourself. Your father wrote this with his own hand in front of me. Nobody forced him." Sammy yelled, "Shut up. You have nothing to do with this. This is between me and this lawyer." The lawyer said, "Sir, if you want to contest the will, it's your right. But you should know the evidence is strong. Your father was aware. The papers are legal." Sammy gave me a look. You know that look of, "I won't forget this." A look of hatred. And he stormed out without another word. He slammed the door so hard the wall shook. I stayed there with my uncle and the lawyer. A long silence. My uncle, who didn't know what was in the will, said, "Honestly, I didn't know he would do this." The lawyer stepped in and said, "He was very clear about what he wanted. He even told me why. But I can't say it. It's professional secrecy." I saw the letter that Dad left on the table. It was a bit crumpled from when Sammy got angry. I took it and read it. Dad wrote, "My son, if you are reading this, it means I'm gone. I know you will be surprised by this will. But let me explain. I knew everything. I knew you were the one paying all the hospital bills. I knew from the first year in the hospital. They gave me a receipt by mistake one time, and I saw your name there. At first, I didn't believe it. I thought there was a mistake. But when I checked a little bit, I found out it was you paying for everything. I didn't say anything because I knew you wouldn't want me to know. You have a pride like mine. I didn't want you to stop. Not because I needed the money, but because I needed to know that you are truly my son. My son who loves me for nothing, with no conditions. My son who comes to visit me because he wants to, not because he needs something from me. Sammy is my son, and I love him. But Sammy took a lot from me and returned nothing. $80,000, and he didn't return a thing. He didn't come to visit me unless he needed me. Even when I got sick, he didn't help and said he had nothing. I knew he had a new car. But you came every week for 4 years. You sat with me. You kept me company when I had nobody. You didn't complain. You didn't get bored. You paid my debts without me asking, and without me even thanking you. You sold your car to pay for my medicine. You think I don't see anything, but I saw everything. This inheritance I gave you is not a gift. This inheritance is your right. I returned a little bit of what you gave me. But the truth is, I can't return everything. Because what you gave me, my son, is priceless. You gave me your time, your love, and your attention. This is more expensive than money. You are my son, and I am proud of you. I am proud of the man you became. I know you will use this inheritance the right way. And forgive me if one day I made you feel you weren't my first son. I was wrong. You were always my first son. I just didn't know how to say it or show it. Signed, your father who loves you. My tears fell without me realizing. Reading this, God, your father was a good man. At least you ended things on good terms. I started crying. I couldn't control myself. For years of holding it in. For years by myself, thinking nobody saw what I was doing. But Dad saw everything. I never thought he'd know or care. My Uncle Kareem hugged me and said, "Your father was a great man and you are like him." I couldn't even answer. I was just crying. Sammy didn't waste time. The next day, the war started. First thing, social media. He posted a long post on Facebook with an old picture of him and Dad. Very emotional. He wrote, "Today my heart is broken, not just because my father is gone, but because my brother stole my inheritance, which was my right. My brother, who never helped the family, exploited Dad's sickness in his last days to transfer everything to himself." This talk, he repeated it for a long time. The worst part was the comments. People insulting me without knowing the truth. Greed blinds people. How could your brother steal like that? Then he called the whole family, one by one. Aunts, cousins. He told them the same story, that I'm worthless, that I betrayed him, that I exploited Dad. Most of them believed him. My aunt called me. "How could you do this to your brother? Aren't you ashamed?" I tried to explain, but she said, "I have nothing to hear. Sammy told us everything." And she hung up. A cousin blocked me on social media, like he never knew me. I got threatening messages from Sammy. "I will expose you more. I will ruin your life until you give me my right." I had nothing to say to people who wouldn't listen. Weeks passed of this mess. Even my Uncle Kareem called me and said, "Son, you need to defend yourself." People believe Sammy. I asked, "What do you want me to do?" Go out and say, "I paid $120,000. He said, "Exactly. Defend yourself." I thought about it a lot. I didn't want to be like Sammy. I didn't want to do that drama or make it into a Turkish soap opera. Honestly, I didn't feel good bragging about the good I did for my father in front of people who weren't there. But people always believe the lie because the one telling the truth is silent. And the silence started killing me. So I sat down that night. I brought a folder that had every single receipt from the 4 years. Every bill, every bank transfer, every check. With dates, amounts, and clear proof. I didn't post it on social media. I did something better. I scanned everything, organized it by date, and sent it as a document to the entire family. Just the family. Along with a small message. The truth of 4 years of me paying Dad's medical bills. I didn't ask for thanks. I didn't ask for the inheritance. Dad is the one who decided. Whoever wants to believe, believe. Whoever wants to stay with Sammy, good luck. Leave me alone. Then everything started changing fast. The first one was that aunt who hung up on me. She called me crying. Maybe it was guilt, or I don't know. She said, "Forgive me, my son. I didn't know. Sammy told us, and I believe him." I said, "It's okay, Aunt, you didn't know." She said, "No, it's not okay. I should have asked and listened to you. Forgive me. That cousin who blocked me, he unblocked me. Brother, forgive me, I made a mistake." People believe the first thing they hear. Sometimes people turn against you not because they are bad, but because of what reached them. They take a position based on lies. Everything changed. Everyone was apologizing. Everyone was saying we didn't know Sammy was lying to us. But I didn't stop there at "forgive me." People finally understood the truth and who the liar was. Sammy went and deleted all those posts. He stopped talking. He didn't come to apologize or explain why. He just disappeared. But what happened, happened. The damage was done. People saw his posts, heard his talk, and then saw the evidence. People found out what he was really worth. They knew he was the son who took and never gave. And when his father needed him, he wasn't there. Days passed, and Sammy showed up at my house. He didn't call or warn me. He banged on the door so hard it sounded like the police. I opened. His face was red. His eyes were bulging. He looked like he hadn't slept. "We need to talk." He pushed his way in without me inviting him. He stood in the living room. "Why did you do this?" I said, "What did I do exactly?" He yelled, "Why did you expose me in front of the family? Why did you send those bills?" Now everyone looks at me like. I said, "Like what, Sammy? Like you're a liar?" His face changed. I'm a liar? You stole my inheritance." I said, "Brother Sammy, I didn't steal anything. Dad decided this in his full mental capacity." He said, "No, you twisted his head. You played him." I stood in front of him, looking him straight in the eye. I said, "Sammy, let me explain something to you. Dad gave you an $80,000 loan for your restaurant and that company. You never returned it. You didn't even visit him. Dad died while you owed him money, and you were driving around in those cars. I spent $120,000 on his care. I was with him in everything, even though I needed that time to work and make more money. But I knew what was important. I lived only for him for 4 years. Do you even know I took loans in my name for him? And you didn't show up. You didn't say thank you. You did nothing. Dad wasn't blind. He was sick, but he wasn't crazy. He saw and understood everything. He understood that you don't deserve it, and he returned a little bit of what I gave. You were always jealous of me, he yelled. Jealous of what? Your debts? Your failed businesses? When you were lying to Dad and taking his money? Why would I be jealous of you? I respected Dad enough to keep your truth from him. I was covering for you because I knew he loved you, and he died loving you. He went quiet. He had nothing to say. In that moment, I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Regret, but it was just a small moment. Then his hatred came back. This won't end here. I'll see you in court. He slammed the door and never came back. Sammy never went to court. The will was solid. The evidence was there. It's not that he didn't want to go to court, but life didn't let him. After a few months, I found out what happened to him. My Uncle Kareem told me. The business he was bragging about recently fell apart. He was paying debts from fake profits, moving money from here to there to hide losses on paper. When the manipulation stopped, everything fell. The bank took everything. Imagine, even that fancy Mercedes he was so proud of, the bank took it. They took his house too. He was living on credit after credit. And the biggest shock, his wife left him. His wife, who was with him in those messages and saying we will ruin your life. She took the kids and went to her family's house. Apparently, she didn't love Sammy. She loved his money. But honestly, even if she loved him, seeing how he ruined himself and his family, she had to leave. Time passed, and I didn't want to hear any news about him. I even asked my uncle not to tell me anything, until I got a call. From who? From Sammy. He was asking me to help him. He said, I have nothing left. Where was the Sammy from before? He said, I know I don't deserve it. Help me. I have nobody else. Even Sarah left. All the friends are gone. I only have you. I thought about it. I didn't immediately accept. I turned it over in my head 200 times. I remembered Dad's words. I remembered how he never showed up for years, how he didn't help, the lies, what he did with the family. But then I thought about Dad, who loved us both. Dad wanted his son to learn a lesson. Maybe he learned it, maybe he didn't. I was confused. But then I said, what do you need exactly? He said, I need rent money for 1 month. I'll give it back when I can. I said, stop. I won't give you a loan, and you know why. But I will pay your rent for this month directly to the landlord, not in your hand. He started saying, thank you, brother. Thank you so much. I said, I'm not finished, on one condition. What? I said, stop your drama. I don't want you taking loans or lying or trying to look like something you're not. I don't want to see that anymore. If you want a relationship with your brother, I want you to be a real human being. I want our relationship to be based on respect, not money. He went quiet. He said, okay, don't worry, brother. I don't know if he will change. I don't know if his promise is worth anything. You know how these people are. You know if they'll ever use their heads or they're just born that way. But at least I feel at peace because I know Dad would have wanted me to try with him. I tried for Dad's sake. Now, to not make this too long, let me tell you what I did with the inheritance. The big house, the one we grew up in, I sold it. I put most of the money into investments. I kept a small part aside in the bank for Sammy. Like I told you, not as a loan. A small inheritance hidden for him for when he deserves it. If one day he really changes and becomes the brother he should have been, he will find his share waiting for him. Dad taught me an important thing. The real inheritance isn't money or houses. The real inheritance is how you treat people. Because when I was paying those bills, I wasn't waiting for anyone to thank me or to win anything. And in the end, he gave me everything without me asking. This is real love. To give without counting. To give without waiting for anything in return. And we finish this story here with this beautiful message. Leave me in the comments if you have people in your family who are obsessed with money, who only see things from that side. I can tell you they exist. My advice to you is, take care of your families. Be with them. Spend as much time as you can with them. This is what's important. Time passes, and we don't know who goes first. This is what stays. Money comes and goes. Today you might have zero in your pocket. Tomorrow you could be a millionaire. You don't need an inheritance or help. It's from God. So don't let money fill our hearts and minds. How we act is what matters. There are people blinded by money. They see people with hatred. They treat humans like they treat a bank. God help them. They think they're the smart ones. It's always shown on their faces. I won't make this longer. Thank you if you finish this with me. I know sometimes I go off topic a bit, but this is what I like to do. I love you, and I hope you learned something in this video. See you in the next story that we do English classes. We gather and talk about topics. It's our first embassy in the digital world. I'll leave the link in the description and the first comment. See you in the next video. Yeah.